Welcome back to part 2 of our interview on the Red Couch. Yeah. So you went from being born into this incredible community where everyone knew everyone and you couldn't go down the street without every neighbor saying, "Excuse me, come back here. Right. Your mom doesn't want you to go that far."
Exactly.
And to knowing absolutely no one, having just had a major medical crisis, yeah, and then wanting to feel connected. So I think that's what all women really want, is to feel connected. I think that's what all people want.
Right.
And so how did you, I remember you're telling me a story about how you said you started looking for community in the wrong way.
Yeah, I started looking for community in the wrong way because I was so desperate for what was suddenly missing in my life. Just so, I mean, I felt this emptiness, and I kept going from place to place saying, well, this place will fill me up. This place is going to be the place that I fit. This place is going to be what I need. Right. And I wasn't finding anything. And it hit me that that was not ever really my approach to life before that. My approach has been to go someplace with what I can bring and what I can give, what I have to offer. And so when I shifted that, and instead of going out trying to find something to fill me up, but trying to find something to provide to other people, it started to happen. It started to happen. And it just happened organically and evolved.
So were you always a leader? You founded the chapter of the National Association for Professional Women, a huge national organization here in Sarasota County. And how did you start? Were you always a leader?
I don't think so. I don't think so. I don't think, other people look at me and they see me as how they see me, but I don't think I was always a leader. I always found a place to fit in. Mm-hmm. But I think what happened when I came here after this big transition in my life, I mean, I had the stroke, I had the surgery, I had the move to Florida, I had all these big transitions. I think I just started leading my own life. I started making choices for myself. And I had to, because there wasn't anybody there that I could fall back on. That group of friends that was always there, right, was gone. And so I just started leading my own life. And in leading my own life and approaching life with a giving attitude, it just created a leadership role that I wasn't really, that wasn't my target. It wasn't my target to be a leader, but I stepped into the role for myself, and it kind of evolved.
I think many people, especially women, have a hard time. They think, oh, that's going to be too much responsibility, or if I get into a leadership position and I find I'm a founder of an organization, I'm not going to have any friends because I'm going to be at the top, or I don't know what to do or how to do it. Did you have any of those?
All of it. I was terrified. I was like, my approach was, well, I want to create this. I was a member of the major organization, but there was no support here. Right. And there was nobody stepping up to do it. And I got into well, if nobody else is going to do it, I guess I'll try. And I called New York and started making the arrangement. And I had no clue what to do. I had no clue, other than having some guidance from New York on how these chapters are supposed to get started and advertised. I had to face a lot of my own insecurity doing it, to put myself out saying, hey, I'm the leader, because I'd never led a group like that before. And
that's pretty scary.
It's pretty scary.
Yeah.
My own insecurities, my own fears, my own, and those insecurities involve a lot of, the past 10 years. I mean, coming from the stroke, then there's added insecurity.
Right.
But
you did it anyway.
I did it anyway. And, there's always moments of choice. There's always moments of choice. You can say, heck no, I'm not stepping in there. You can say, well, let's see what happens if I go in this direction. And, just going in that direction, if you don't do anything, you're pretty much assured nothing's going to happen.
Right.
If you take another step and you take an action step, maybe something will happen, maybe it'll be good, maybe it won't be good, but at least something is going to be happening.
Right.
And you'll learn from it. So
now if another leadership role comes along, or another you know, exciting opportunity, will you be as afraid as you were before at the first time?
Probably, but it'll be easier to face the fear. You know, the fear doesn't go away.
Yeah.
The voice inside that says, "Are you sure you want to do that?" doesn't necessarily disappear just because you've done it, but it's easier to walk in facing it. Right. After you've done it and didn't die from it, you know, and for me, you know, my self-talk is often, well, it's not like having a stroke, certainly, so let's give it a whirl. And
compared to having a stroke, anything's going to be easy.
Yeah.
I mean, or you're willing to do it, right? Because you feel like
I've seen my worst day.
Yeah.
I've seen my worst day.
Yeah. You know, I think in America, it's when I was growing up, especially, it was like, the individual is celebrated and you can do it on your own. Mm-hmm. And really, I feel like what we're missing the most is that sort of community and that circle of women that, you know, that tribal feel that you used to talk about with me, like just feeling like we're there to celebrate each other.
Well, I think I grew up in community and then moved into these decades of diversity. Right. Where everybody kind of pulled apart. And diversity should be celebrated. People's uniqueness should be celebrated. Right. But I think it separated people. While it was celebrating the individual, it separated the communities.
Right.
And
60s and
and 70s and it's just continued. And now I think people are looking to reconnect. I think that's why social networking is so powerful.
Yeah.
Because people are finding that hole and I just need to connect with people.
What I think is so interesting about you is that, you know, a lot of people feel like, oh, I'm lonely, I need something, I want something, and then kind of just don't do anything and just hope some group is going to magically come and sweep them up.
Or start eating chocolate.
Or eating chocolate. But you just did it without even really knowing what was involved or
whether it was going to work or if anybody was going to show up to a meeting or...
So have people showed up?
Yes. It's been less than a year. There's 30 active chapter members in less than a year. And every meeting more come. And I don't even advertise the group anymore. I'm just letting it happen. Yeah. And people tell people. And it's very like-minded women. I mean, these women are here to support one another and encourage and inspire. It's business women from corporate CEO level to an entrepreneur running a business out of her home. Group.
Wow.
There's physicians and lawyers and not everybody comes every week, but these people, they all have something to give and they come giving. I mean, that was my vision and my hope is that the women would walk in the door with an attitude of giving. What can I give to somebody else who needs advice or who needs help with their business or with their life?
Right.
And this is how this group is evolving and blooming. It's fantastic. It's fantastic.
It sounds really, really, truly supportive. Not just like a bunch of people handing out their business cards and all that kind of stuff.
It's not a business card brawl networking kind of place. It's a place where people, they listen. What's different is when somebody is talking about who they are, what their passion is, what their purpose here is or their business is, the rest of the people are honestly listening. They're hearing them.
Wow.
People have an opportunity to be heard.
What's an example of a woman that maybe would come into the group and needed support from other women? Like, I think you were mentioning something about a newly published author.
Well, there was a woman who had just self-published her book.
Okay.
She realized that she came to the group thinking, well, you know, this group is going to give me exposure and I'm going to be able to have my book on the website and all those normal things that a businesswoman is going to think about because you want your business to go. But she shared with the group that her greatest fear was her fear of speaking publicly and that she was being asked to do book readings and to stand in front of a room and do readings and to start going to book signings and greeting the public. And this was her greatest fear and obstacle. And there was another woman in the group. She's a regular member of our group who's a business coach who specializes in public speaking and public personas. So she worked with this woman and took her on, went with her to the first couple. I mean, it was amazing. And they've become friends. They stick with one another, and she has gotten her to the point where just being together in that group and how they worked outside of the group.
That is fabulous. I love that. I love that the whole group is about celebrating each other's successes and helping each other along the way with the things that we're not quite as good at. And it seems like you really have, you've really become the leader that you wanted to be or that you were looking for. You became that leader.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Isn't that weird? But that seems to be what happened.
What's your secret to leading? Like, how do you make it successful?
I don't bring a lot of myself. I listen.
You listen.
I think that the secret to leadership is listening, because if you're a leader, I think a lot of people get it wrong and thinking, well, I'm going to carry my banner and everybody's going to follow me. But you have to hear what the group needs and what the group wants that you're the leader of. Because, you know, I think a really great example of a leader is like Queen Elizabeth as a leader. She decided, 60 years ago that she would lead a country and gave up basically her whole life. She hasn't gone to do her own thing. And, you know, who knows where her life would have gone had she not committed to that. But she's more of a servant to her country.
And you're like a servant to this group,
I just want
a
to
good
make sure
listener.
they have a place to come, they have a place to share, and they have a place to grow as women and as business owners. And
that is so fun. Susie, I want to be a part of your group, and I'm sure every woman does.
You can absolutely be a part of our group.
Thank you for being a really inspirational leader and for leading your own life, and thank you for being here. Thank you for joining us
On the Red Couch.